Hi everyone. So stop identifying with what you don't want. Just stop that today. So welcome back. On this channel, on Sandia channel, we talk about the immense power we have to create and change the lives that we want, to bend time and space. The power that was used to create galaxies and lands and seas and is the same power that Thomas Edison tapped into, and the same power of miracles, the same power Bach and Beethoven used. So you have that within you, okay? So you don't have it within you like a little bit of the time, or 5% of the time, or 99% of the time. You're not a good manifestor or a bad manifestor. The analogy I use is, you're not half pregnant. So you're not a half pregnant manifester, okay? You are all powerful completely. And it's taken me quite a long time to accept that, to really, really accept that I've created the life that I've wanted from birth. All the stuff that I thought I didn't want, all the stuff that I thought I was a victim of, all the stuff I was blaming other people for, is actually of my own doing. So I spoke about that in another video, and the power of your creative mind, your six senses. So I've really started living from my six senses. My life has changed in ways that I didn't expect, and it's been quite a journey, to understand the enormity of that power. And part of that is understanding that, and this is one of the keys to it, is understanding that you need to stop selling what you're identifying with, if that's not what you want. If that's what you want, great. Good or bad, there's no judgment, because no one wants to hear this, and I did a video on this as well, but no one wants to hear this. But there is no judgment, because it's a level playing field. You've got the power to create good, and you've got the power to create bad. Everybody in this community, in the New Thought community, talks about doing good. You need to do good. You need to turn the other cheek. You need to offer love, and all of that is true. But no one talks about, if you have bad intentions, do you have the power to create? Yes, absolutely. Do I recommend it? No. But that doesn't take away from the facts. You have the same power. So that aside, how do you drop identification of the story that you don't want to sell? So firstly, identify the story that you want to sell. What kind of story are you going for? And be clear on what you don't want. So those are the basics. Be clear on what you want, and be clear on what you don't want, okay? Make a list of those things, and then look at the ways in which you're supporting either column. Draw two columns on a page, and look at the ways that you're supporting what you want, and the ways that you're supporting what you don't want. So if you don't want to identify with poverty, then stop selling that story. Stop talking about the price of bread. Stop talking about your boss and how evil he is, and how you've got the jobs of 3 people. Stop talking about the cost of living, so stop selling those stories. Stop using phrases. And I've got a course on that, about using how your words, how powerful your words are, and what keywords they are to change your circumstances. So start using the right words. So phrases, be careful of the phrases that you grew up with. Phrases like, I can get the thing I want, but that means I'm gonna have to lose or give up this other thing, because you can't have it all. Okay, a lot of us in different cultures across the world, across age groups, a lot of us have grown up with that. You can't get everything. Just be content with what you have. So be careful about things like that. Be aware of how you're thinking, how you're talking. I gave this example in another video about how somebody had jumped into my car and was talking about the price of bread. And it shocked me because, like, legit, I've even when I didn't know about all this stuff, I never really consciously took note of the price of bread. Even the many times I was down and out with no bucks to my name, I still didn't really pay attention, you know. And I was like, I said to them, I don't know the price of bread. And they were like, have you seen the cost of living? It's shooting up. And I had nothing to say. So I said to them, I don't really want to live with that energy. I don't know what I said. I said something along those lines. It was quite nice what I said. I didn't say it in a way to make them feel bad. And the energy just shifted. It changed. They started reaching for better topics, you know. And I started reaching for better topics. And we just had such a great time, such a laugh that day. But don't identify with trashing your family or how bad you are or what mistakes you've made in your life or your failures. And some of my clients have asked me, so how do you do that? How do you stop identifying it, you know? Okay, so I'll just give you one example, okay? We can explore it more in a session, but basically, so there comes a time when you're alone, you know, often during the day, probably at some points in the day, even if you're a busy parent with kids, drop-offs, etc. There's moments when in your head, and you're busy thinking something, you know. There's this race thought. The Florence Scovel calls it the race thought that we've all been in for thousands of years, where these thoughts are just piling on. Scientific American and a lot of other studies have measured, surveys have measured it to be around 80,000 thoughts a day. So you've got this army of thoughts, you know, and you've got to be the gatekeeper of of your thoughts. Many books, many new thought authors, current and past, have spoken about this, you know. A lot of people with the Bible, you know, the Bible is a metaphor, actually, you know, and a lot of people have taken it literally. Billions of people have taken it literally, but it's such powerful metaphors in the Quran and in the Bible and in the Torah, etc. About the gatekeeper, for example. In Christianity, in Christian mythology, you know, the 12 disciples actually represent the 12 levels of the mind and the gatekeeping of the mind, you know. So you want to gatekeep that thought, that primary thought. You want to just observe it, and you kind of like want to be amused and disinterested at the thought that trashes you, for example, where if you made a mistake in a meeting the previous day or said something wrong, or you know, you wish you could turn the clock back. When that thought comes across, you know, you could be doing the dishes, and while you're washing, you're thinking to yourself, I'm such an idiot. Stop, okay? Don't identify with trashing yourself. Don't identify with being ashamed or being a failure. Stop identifying with it. You know, I don't care whether you're currently a recovering alcoholic at the moment, you're down and out, you think you're the black sheep of the family, or whatever your story is that you're selling, you know, to yourself in the world. Whatever it is not true. It simply is not true. It's just that you've bought into that story so strongly, so powerfully, that you can't see anything else. You've forgotten that this is an illusion. So your words and your thoughts, I mentioned this in all the video, and the things that I'm mentioning a lot is really what's come to bear for me, you know. Your words are filled with light. It's filled with light. And your words are spells. And I'll do another video on that, okay? So your words are spells. You're casting spells every day. Think of it like that. So you're casting spells every day, and that is really what's going on, okay? So you want to be aware of the story you're selling, because the life that you're painting, this 3D reality that you're painting, you're a master artist, and your words and your thoughts, it's a paintbrush with paint and you're painting it. And whatever you don't like, let it go. Just drop it, paint over it, okay? Choose different spells, different words, different meanings, you know, drop it. Just drop it. And that's how you stop identifying with what you don't want. one of the many ways. Okay, there's different ways. For example, I also want to touch on the New Thought community or other communities that are doing a lot of practices and a lot of techniques. So the techniques and the practices are all fine. Just don't get lost in it. We've got to do this practice, we've got to do it every day. If we don't do that, we're not going to get no. Then you've missed the boat. You're never going to get what you want because you're still holding it so far away from you, and it's dependent now on this external thing, which is a technique in this example. So it's not about the technique, it's more about the state of being and the feeling. The state of being that you're no longer that state that you used to call yourself. I've got a lot of friends that they don't pride themselves, but they talk a lot about how they are, suffering from depression, or the doctor said I've got panic attack issues, or I've had this, I've had that, or I am, I'm OCDC, I'm OCD, okay, obsessive compulsive disorder, I'm OCD. So they pride themselves in a way of being that way. No, you're not. You've just identified so strongly that you've now absorbed the cloak and made it crystallize in 3D in such a way that you've now thinking this is real. It's not real, And this is coming from someone who's stopped identifying with being epileptic at the age of 24, and I've never, it's been 25 years, and I've never had an attack since, So when it comes to health, I can definitely vouch for that story, okay? There's a lot of things that I'm constantly losing identification with. Every day I'm losing a little bit of my old version. I'm chipping away, and it's so freeing. It's so amazing. I'm losing identification with being, judging others harshly, which I've done so much in the past, buying into what they're selling. So I'm choosing now to see the best in others. Like I'm really choosing that, and do I get it right all the time? No, I don't, but I'm choosing to see a better version of myself and a better version of the world I occupy and the others in it, So that's what it's all about. It's a daily thing, and it's basically a muscle. It's like basically sitting on the couch and being a couch potato, and now you're going to gym. So I shouldn't talk because I'm not really an active person, but I don't know why I chose that analogy, but I think it works for a lot of people. So now you're flexing these muscles that have been lying dormant. So you're flexing a sixth sense muscle because you've been relying on your five senses. Your five senses were not meant for higher faculty decision making, okay? That's for your six senses, the realm of intuition, inspiration, creativity, imagination, and many, many other six senses. So that is the field you want to play in every day. So it is a habit. It is building that habit of break those links of identifying with the thing you don't want anymore. The way you speak, the way you talk, and then you develop the state of being which is different from the version you were. You're stepping into a whole realm of something else, and it's crazy and it's freeing, and it takes habit. It takes discipline, and it sounds and feels weird at first because you're just not used to speaking that way and thinking that way, and you think of yourself as somebody else, but you have the power to reinvent yourself completely. And it does feel like a bit of a fake and fraudy thing in the beginning, but that's because you've created the old version to such an extent that you've drunk the Kool-Aid. You believe in your own BS. So just stop. As you hear the words come out, stop. At the end of the day, revise and change the way you spoke earlier in the day. Don't take yourself so seriously. If you get it wrong, it's not a big deal. Okay? So many other techniques. Lots of love. Bye.